We have three main characters in Resident Evil 6 with three distinct storylines. The first one is Leon. You know him from Resident Evil 4. He's in the United States whenever the president is going to give an address in his hometown of Tall Oaks, when a bioterrorism incident occurs and turns the president into a zombie. Leon's an old friend of the president. He's faced with a terrible decision. He's forced to shoot and kill the president. So he and his new partner Helena try and find out what happened here, how this could have happened, and they investigate the mystery behind the attack. The second storyline is Chris, another Resident Evil character from the history of the series, from Resident Evil 5. He and his partner Piers are in the BSAA group. They're counter-terrorists, and they're in China investigating another simultaneous bioterrorism incident. The third storyline is with a new character called Jake. He's in Eastern Europe. His partner is the now grown-up Sherry Birkin, who series fans remember from Resident Evil 2. Jake is the heir to a very special bloodline, and he is being pursued relentlessly by all kinds of agencies and creatures in Eastern Europe because of this.
Sherry, what are you doing here?
I'm on protective detail. Why are you here?
All three of these storylines are distinct and standalone. They also weave together and play the part of a larger story of bioterrorism on a global scale. So something unique about our game is that not just the story, but the gameplay also crosses over with itself and merges. So you could be playing on one thread as a two-player co-op, Leon and Helena. Someone else in the world could be playing Jake and Sherry, two-player co-op. At certain key points in the story, when these characters all meet up in one place and take on something together, you live seamlessly branch from a two-player co-op session into a four-player co-op session right there. So this is a feature we're really proud of, and this is what we're really kind of pushing at E3 for Resident Evil 6. Of course, you have the option when matchmaking to simply play only with people on your friends list. That'll help you avoid trolls in a really effective way, obviously. Another thing you can do is, similarly to how you would give commands to an AI partner in a lot of games, where you get an option to say something to them, you can use that to communicate live with the people who have dropped into your game, and you can be like, come on, help me out here. So we're hoping players will use these features in combination and find good groups and really have a good time with the feature.
Jarheads all look the same to me, pal, sorry.
Now, we're talking a lot about co-op, but that's not all we have. Obviously, in terms of online play, there's going to be separate modes where you can compete against each other. Also, within the co-op in the campaign, we have some great ideas that we can't tell you quite yet at this timing, but please do look forward to a great experience.
No, goddammit!
The overall theme of Resident Evil is, of course, horror, and there are three distinct play styles. All of them have the basic element of survival horror that the game is about in them. But we've also kind of had some separate themes for each one. So, for example, Leon is much more of a classic Resident Evil gothic horror feel. Chris, he's part of a squad, and it has that kind of fear you have whenever the people around you are being picked off one by one, and am I going to survive this? So there's a unique kind of fear there as well. And if you recall, in Resident Evil 3, you're being pursued by the Nemesis character. Well, Jake's story is very much a story of pursuit and escape. So he's being relentlessly pursued by this enemy, and there's the fear of, can I ever get away from this person? So we have these three distinct identities, but they are all wrapped up in the same brand identity that is Resident Evil, the gamers know and love so much.
Looking for me, boys?
In terms of what enemies you'll be seeing in the game, we've got a new enemy type called the h32. They're quite terrifying. They will mutate right in front of you depending on where you shoot them. So, for example, you might shoot the enemy in the arm, and suddenly his arm becomes a kind of a grabbing hand that can get you. But you can do it in multiple places, even on the same enemy. You could hit the other arm, and it becomes a kind of a stabbing knife style mutation, or you could shoot them in the legs, something else happens down there. So we've had similar enemies where you shoot them and something pops out or something like that in Resident Evil 4 and 5, but there's so much more variation to the style of mutation in Resident Evil 6's h32 that we think is really exciting. And in terms of the mutations, they can go even further. They can actually go into a kind of a cocoon stage, and what happens from there is more terrifying than anything seen before in the game. So hopefully players will look forward to taking on these really badass enemies.
You can't run forever.
Resident Evil 6 is coming to PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 on the 2nd of October this year, and we're going to be working right up to the last minute to keep improving the game and making it as good as we can. So please look forward to it, and we hope you enjoy the game.
Resident Evil 6.